Hi, I'm Jack from Mission Control.
I'm Jacob, and we are with
Slater from Radical Forge.
Olly Bennett of Cardboard Sword.
Awesome. So, just for developers and students who don't know, what exactly is GameBridge?
GameBridge is a networking event set up in Middlesbrough, but for the northeast of the UK. And it's just to bring together communities of game makers, those involved in the video games industry, and graduates and students looking to get into it and sort of to meet game makers in the region.
So what's the origin story of GameBridge? How did you two come together to form it?
So, surprise, surprise, Ollie and I were sat in a pub together.
All these things start in pubs, right?
Yeah. We were talking about how many game studios were in the area, and at that point in time there was about 15.
Yeah, Bruce started listing some, and I started listing some that he'd not heard of, and he'd listing some I hadn't heard of. And before we knew it, we were like 15, and we were like, this is Middlesbrough, you know, as far as we were aware. Yeah.
In like 10 minutes.
So I came to Middlesbrough for a job, and I was aware of like one or two other companies, but 15 was a big surprise. And so I said to Bruce, well, why isn't there any kind of networking event or thing where people get together, you know, once a month? And then Bruce said, maybe we should start something. And then I literally just stood up and went, right, okay, let's do it.
And I went, really?
and then Bruce and I literally that afternoon walked from building to building where all the games companies were, knocking on their doors, walked in and just sort of, hi, I'm Ollie, this is Bruce, and if we did a networking event, would you guys come along? And unanimously, everyone was like, yeah, sounds great. So we had our first event at Mink, yeah.
68 people.
Yeah.
Top floor, we packed out Mink.
Yeah, it was about 65, 68 people.
It's pretty big.
A couple of weeks afterwards, and then we did it ever since, monthly. Digital City, who are now associated with the university, but funded with ERDF money, sort of helping promote and grow local businesses. We contacted them due to an existing event called Refresh Teesside, which is another networking event in the area. And they said, yeah, we'll sponsor you. So we started doing monthly events, putting on some food and drink and just bringing people together.
Going back even further, like how did you two meet?
I guess just games industry like friends, right?
Yeah, I guess I was a student, and the company that Ollie worked at, 11 before he started Cardboard. I met some of the 11 guys in Germany at Gamescom one year and got invited round, and I just became friends with a lot of the people in the building, just by accident. And I guess Ollie and I just met because we both have an interest in video games, and it's just the kind of thing that happened. I'm pretty sure it was Didymus though.
Didymus or maybe Green.
Yeah, Didymus and Greenie, like mutual friends that do similar things, but are all business people as well.
So how has GameBridge solely helped build a tight-knit community in Middlesbrough?
The core thing was bringing people together, making people aware of each other. Like with Bruce and I, that all these different people weren't even aware that each other existed. So, when you're in a small town and there isn't anyone sort of shouting about the existence of these companies, you don't even think to look them up. So we had this first event, and people were coming up to us saying, I had no idea there were this many people in Middlesbrough.
And I was like, yeah, me too.
Yeah. And so just sort of the persistence of our event, keeping it going, people coming every month, and sort of linking our connections and people at the event linking their connections, and then ultimately, of course, with all networking events is people meet people. Someone needs a job, someone's skilled at that particular.
I used to force people to meet. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Like the really early events, I used to be like, people would be like, I want to talk to this person, but I don't know who they are or what they're doing. And I was like, I know who that is, right? So I used to just like grab them and just be like, walk them over and be like, right, this person wants to talk to you, or you two should talk, or do you two know each other? And I'd be like, no, and I'd be like, okay, it's time that you talked, and then I'd leave them.
Yeah, you just dump them there and then walk straight off.
I'd literally just go, right, there you go, you two need to talk, I'll see you later. And I just leave them because because it stops, because obviously meeting people for the first time is really weird. Yeah. But if somebody else has just gone, you two need to meet and talk, and you just force it.
It breaks the ice instantly. You don't even need a.
All right. So how do you know Bruce like that?
Yeah, or you just get on with that, and there was a lot of that. Like that was like there was a lot of that, which was kind of fun, to be honest. Do you remember we tried talks?
Yeah, well, so Refresh Teesside, the event that we sort of mimicked to start ours, would do a few talks from local businesses or whatever. And it seemed like a good format. It meant people could introduce themselves, maybe sell their product if they're looking for a job, stand up and just say, hey, yeah, look, I'm freelance or I'm looking for work, etc., and vice versa if you've got jobs available. So we started off doing talks, and you know, it worked, and we still do talks at some of our events, but most of the time it depends on if people want to, if they've got things. You know, people still come up. I'll do a talk at every event with Bruce, just a sort of a thanks for coming, you know, that sort of stuff. And then people will, make up on the spot. But we'll then invite people to come up and announce if they've got jobs available, if they've got new projects for people to buy. Usually it's me selling my own game to everyone. Siege of the Sandfox.
It's the most sad thing on the Gamebridge stage.
Well, I run the Gamebridge Facebook page as well, and I keep saying to people, look, we've got thousands of people, well, not literally thousands, but over 1,000 people that like the page and in the mailing list and on the Twitter and stuff, you know. So here's a platform I can help you share your stuff, but I think people just forget about that.
I can't say you posted today, I think, 12 hours ago, was it Siege of the Sandfox, like a development process.
The Siege of the Sandfox, yeah, that's right.
Is that your get?
The Siege of the Sandfox.
I haven't heard anything about it, Ollie. Can you tell me about it?
Now's not the time and the place to mention the Siege of the Sandfox.
How often do you actually run Gamebridge?
At the minute, when we have time. So both Bruce and I have our own businesses, and we've just got busier and busier in the last sort of year or two. So we were monthly, then we went to quarterly. Now we have one big one a year, which coincides with the Teesside Animex Festival, and that gets around sort of 250 to 300 people, and around sort of, well, it varies between £2,000 and £5,000 sponsorship. And then the smaller events we do, probably 2 or 3 a year now, which is, I guess, works out as quarterly. But it depends, you know, it's when we, as and when. And that tends to be sponsored by Digital City again, or smaller, you know, small amounts, say £300 to £600. And
is it in like a different venue every time?
not every time, but the smaller ones. There's a yeah. Well, we don't do Mink anymore. It's closed down now, isn't it?
Yeah, there was. We did Mink.
Dickens and the Hub.
Yeah.
We haven't had them anywhere else.
No, you're right. We haven't. There's just 3. Yeah.
So the Dickens pub, which is a pub just by in the campus area, and they've got a really nice upstairs space. And so we have the smaller ones there, and it's nice and sort of smaller, more intimate, more casual. And then the ones at the university Hub building, Hub nightclub. We've got sort of big stage, big screens everywhere, lights flashing, and people come and bring their games for others to play. So.
As a final question, where do you see Gamebridge going from now?
That depends on how our businesses go, I think. My game is coming up for release probably next year. The Siege of the Sandfox, that's right. Hopefully we'll do the Animex event next year, which is the big one in May, and maybe a smaller one in February, maybe one in the later part of next year as well. But it all depends on sort of my business and my game quite a bit. I don't want to come across as selfish, but I run a business with 5 other employees and 6 contractors, and it's my career. So I've got to make sure that sort of the game comes out the best it can, and that's going to take pretty much all of my time and then some. So as keen as I am to keep Gamebridge running, I might have to find someone else to hand off the organisation of it to, or certainly help me with it. So, but it is a vital thing. Networking events are vital in regions like Teesside, places outside of London where sort of business focus tends to be. Simply having the event brings people together. It means that people can say, oh, I'm in Middlesbrough, oh, there's this event and there's this event and there's this thing going on. And even if it's the same people every time, next time there's a Gamebridge, I might know someone that I didn't know last Gamebridge that's absolutely perfect as a connection for someone that I already know and I've met 100 times. So, the persistence of these events is vital. So I'd like to ensure that continues with whether it's Bruce and I that are helming it or someone else that we hand it off to.
Like a really similar situation for me. It depends on how work goes and depends on what I want to do. But as long as I'm in Middlesbrough, I'll be doing something to do with it. Like it's too important for the area and the game scene to not do something about it. I think when Ollie and I started it, we didn't expect it to be what it is now. Like,
No. I mean, it was literally just a drink in a pub that was, let's do an event, not a let's start the next 3 years of our life doing rugby events.
And like, it sounds really, really weird, but like, people that like have got jobs from it, and people have fallen in love at the event, and like it's one of the main. Like it was the first place gang beasts ever got shown.
Really?
Yeah, and then and then one of that was our first ever Animax event. One of the students that was there, Milo, tweeted Giant Bomb saying they should play it, and they played it the next day on Professional Fridays. And then that's
the pun, but that's where it blew up.
That started. It's like, which is cool. But it's done more than just that as well though. Like there's been a lot of people that have like come out of their shell a bit and have been trapped inside and like didn't know that there were people like them around, and there's people that come to it that have been part of that, because the community's never really turned anyone away. There's never been
And that's the thing, it's a community, and communities help people feel part of a group, and the other great thing about Gamebridge is there are an awful lot of networking events, expos, trade shows, etc. in the games industry, and they tend to be massive with big companies there, people that make the games that you love. It's intimidating, it's loud, it's noisy, there's lots going on. But networking is a vital part, and especially if you're sort of a freelancer or if you're an indie looking for contracts and things like that. So coming to Gamebridge is kind of like a light version of those. It helps you to practice networking, helps you to practice just approaching people and saying, hi, I'm so-and-so, this is my card, and that's a vital skill. And if you're a graduate, let's say, and Teesside obviously has got several games-related courses. Let's say you've graduated, you've never gone to a games networking event before, and then if you suddenly go to sort of develop Brighton and there's thousands of people in an expensive hotel bar, all some of them wearing suits, spending £7 a pint and stuff.
You don't know what's going on.
You don't know what to do. But if you've been to an event like Gamebridge, and there are obviously events similar to it throughout the country, so I'm not saying that we're the establishment of this wonderful new way of getting into the games industry, but it helps you to just do that, get into that skill, get that confidence up, get the balls to just approach people, and that helps.
Yeah, like I definitely think ever since we started it, some of my best friends have come out of it, for sure. Like there's people that I've met throughout it, doing it, that will be in my life forever. And I feel that that's a very critical thing for it as a whole. If you ask a few other people that have been, or maybe the majority of people that have been, they'll probably say that. There's quite a level of respect for it as a networking event as well, which also means that Ollie and I have to hold the event to those standards. So as time's gone on, we've had to push it to hold those standards, so it takes more out of us every time we do it. Because the first year was effectively just me and Ollie. Well, Ollie would announce it and write the page. We'd do 2-3 weeks of sign-ups, right? People would come along to the event, and then it would be me and Ollie running around talking to everyone, making sure everyone was okay, and building a community together with everyone else. I guess the best way to describe it is Gamebridge wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for all of the other people that were willing to participate in it, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's great, and that's why that community is important to me personally. I don't know about you, Ollie, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I can imagine you feel the same, to be fair.
Awesome. Great. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.